The telephone. What an invention. You could dial someone up and talk to someone. It was an invention that changed the world. And it changed again. We got these things. Now people wanted to be mobile. You could literally take the same thing in your house and put it in your pocket. My generation was all about text messaging. This device changed the game. People wanted to text and we went crazy for it. The Nokia 3310 I'll always remember as the phone that changed it for me. You could play games, it was a mobile phone, and you could text. And then, as SIM cards got smaller and people wanted more, we now have these. Mobile phones have become smart devices. They can replace your TV, they can replace your camera, it can replace your music player, you can run your business on it, it can be your maps. And in the terms of content creation, mobile phones are being used more and more because they're just so accessible. So why am I really talking about telephones and mobile phones and smartphones? Well, the revolution that happened between the basic telephone and now these things is what I think personally is happening with the acoustic guitar and smart guitars. For decades, the acoustic guitar has been at the heart of music, just like the telephone was once the heart of communication. Wooden body resonating with warmth has accompanied campfires, coffee shops, and concert halls alike. Every scratch, every dent, there's a story. But tradition, while beautiful, is not without its limits. Wood reacts to its environment. Heat and humidity warp it. A sudden cold spell can crack it. Amplification? That's a whole other challenge itself, with cables, preamps, and external effects just to shape a tone beyond the raw wood. Then, just as the smartphone redefined communication, a new kind of guitar is born. So this is the Lava Me 4. This is a smart guitar. But the whole point of that intro, talking about the telephone going into smartphones and then guitars going into smart guitars, is because of this. I've never seen so many smart guitars out on the market before, and Lava have been around for a good couple of years doing this. The other thing that has always set Lava apart is the fact that this is not wood. This is carbon fibre. So the build is completely weather resistant in that respect, that it doesn't actually bend or ebb or flow because of the temperature. The strings will always be strings and they'll always have that temperature issue, but the guitar definitely doesn't. And this is the Lava Me 4. And with the 4 comes everything that you know from Lava, but also this. This little plate here is magnetic, and it actually comes off because in the 4 there is a truss rod, allowing you to fine-tune the neck to how you want it, depending on whether you're playing fingerstyle, rock or folk or acoustic, however you see it. And because the neck is carbon fibre as well, once you set the truss, it's solid. And by doing it this way, you can adjust the neck without changing the strings. Now the thing with this guitar, most people see it like an acoustic guitar, and in all purposes it is. I haven't done anything to it yet, and all you're hearing is through the Rode Video Mic Go 2. The noise you're hearing is literally coming from that sound hole. So without any technology whatsoever, without switching it on, it is an acoustic. However, it can be so much more than an acoustic. In fact, it can actually record you, it can change the sound, and it has built-in effects. The clever part with all of this is you don't even need to plug it into an amp, but if you want to, you can. Where you put the strap, there is a 1/4-inch jack, but there's also a USB-C and even 2 little connectors here. So if you don't want to charge it by USB-C, you can charge it through the charging stand. That is a separate purchase, be aware of that. This you have to charge. You even have to connect it via Wi-Fi so you can play around with this. This really bright whole new screen is how you access all the different aspects, from tuning the guitar to effects to recording to even connecting to a community. There's a chip inside here which is called the Shark chip. It has a 32-bit floating point processor and can process all the electrics and all the effects at lightning speed. As you can see, there's effects on here, starting with the tuner, and as I swipe through, this highly responsive screen is amazing. There's loads of things on here, including looping. So you can loop stuff directly in here. There's music. There's also an entire learning system. So you can learn the guitar itself, whether you're strumming, whether you want to play different scales. It's all in here. I've seen the lava guitars on YouTube and people who've reviewed them before, and I just thought maybe it was just a screen with some effects on. I didn't realize how in-depth this thing is. Also in the Lava Me range is the Lava Spruce, which has a spruce top and a laminate side and back. There's the Lava Me Air and the Lava Me Play. So right now, again, you're still listening to this microphone that's just out of shot here. I'm just going to grab one of my plectrums that I got at the Guitar and Bass show. If you haven't seen that video, go and watch it. And if I was to just play a G, predominantly an acoustic guitar. However, let's go into the effects, and what I can do is I can actually change the way this sounds. Again, we're not plugged in, not plugged into a computer or anything like that. It's just the microphone that you're hearing here. That's pretty cool. So if you're around at a friend's house, you're at a campfire, you haven't got any amp with you whatsoever, you've got reverbs, delays, there's all kinds of noises. So the effects are pretty good straight out the bat. But that is just the very beginning of this guitar. There's also things like live drums. So if I go to the drums right now, we have an entirely different look about this. So you can see that there. And there is our A, B, and C. We've got our break, our ending. So we can just go straight into it. Change what the sound is. Let's go to C. Put a break in. Click ending. And remember, I've still got that effect on from earlier on. So this thing is pretty amazing. Now the reason I wanted to test it out is because of the sound, and what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to plug it in. So we're going to plug it into the audio interface, I'm going to plug it into my AudioFuse Studio, I'm going to boot up Logic, and then with Logic I'm not going to put anything on, it's going to be a dry signal in. So all the sounds you're going to hear are coming from this guitar. So you can see here we've got the tuner, we've got a BPM here, we've got our template, and that's our sort of live mode. So we can go into everything just by swiping up, and you've got our 4 parts here, and then this is everything. So let's go into effects and let's start adding a couple of effects. I'm going to show you a couple of different sounds. So this is our clean sound with no effects on whatsoever. Now all these effects have got really funny names and cool names, so let's put our first one on, which is Big Ben. Now the difference is when it's plugged in, you can't hear the effects coming out of the sound hole by default, so therefore you've got to hear it either through an amp, but because I'm plugging it in through the audio interface, I'm going to plug my headphones in so I can hear what you guys can hear. Should JP have thought of this beforehand? Yes, he should have. Let's go over to a different one, which is Black Hole. At the top here, you can see you've got reverb, you've got all reverb, delay, reverse delay. So let's go to one that's called Moonwalk. It's kind of cool. Named after the film. You got choruses, and there's a couple of different ones that says line out only. So let's try it. It's pretty cool. So then you've got all these different other ones we can scroll through. You've got tremolo. Let's pick shadow. Brendan. That was one we played before, which was on coming through the sound hole. Lollipop. We've got phasers. We've got flanger. Octave. Banana bass. Crybaby. We've got stutter, got wah, got slow gear, pitch shift, shaper box. There's all kinds. There's loads here. But then you've also got IR, and it does say line out only for this. So let's have a look at G amp. M amp. T amp. Or 2077 amp. As you tap them, there's little animations for each one. I quite like them. It's cool. You've got distortion as well. So let's go into this. Let's go to lo-fi. Now with each one of these you can choose each effect, or what you can do is you can make a template. So I've made a template already. So I've got delay, black hole and Brendan on here. So I can have a delay on here. There it is. Then we go over to black hole. And you can have more than one template, so you can add more templates. So this is really, really cool. And the other thing you can do as well is once you're in one of these, you can see there's tiny 3 little dots here. It's probably better to show you on there. So you can see 3 little dots, and then as you tap each one, you can edit, you can move either side, and we can go to edit, and we can change the cutoff, the resonance, the speed, the amount, all these different things, and then save that as that effect, which is really, really cool. Now, to get out of anything, we just swipe up from the bottom and we're back to our main menu. You just saw me use the tuner before, but you can actually put that into full screen if you want to. And you can change which style as well. So we're in standard right now, but we can put it into Dadgad or drop D or half step down if you want to as well, which is really clever. Tempo is exactly as it sounds, so we can just click it. We can speed it up and move it around. So if you want to play to a specific tempo, we can do that. We've got subdivisions. So if you want to play along to a click track, or you're practicing, you want to slow things down, that's quite a cool option. The recorder I already mentioned, but if you just click it, it just says tap to record, and it record the input and the output of this with the effects. If you have an idea, you just want to get it down, just tap record, and away you go. Now, to access those recordings, they're actually over here where you've got music and where it stores it for you. Then you've also got all these different options as well. Now, these are all the apps that are on the device, but it's actually sectioned off just here on the bottom row. So you've got yourself and what you've been playing. You've also got the loops, improvs, and responds all here. This is the loop section. You've then got the learn section. So you've got skills, collections, levels, all these different parts you can do. You've got then the leaderboard and then all the apps. And then finally at the end here is the interaction, so you can actually get notifications. Oh, I've got a new person who's just followed me. For me, going into things like the loops is really, really cool. But if I want to create a brand new loop, you've got loops and sounds here. But if I want to create one completely from scratch, there's a plus button just right here at the top. If you give that a click, it then asks me what we're going to do. So it's a drumless loop, and that's fine. So we're going to change this over to about 100 beats per minute. Let's do that. We'll click start on that. The metronome is on, and I've actually got this set up in such a way that once it goes round the loop and how many bars we're doing, it'll automatically start recording the next loop. By default, it is set to record a loop and then it stops recording. So it won't record the second one for you, but I've got it down to do an auto record. So let's do this now. There you go, straight away, it's doing it. Once you get through all the loops, the click stops, you don't hear the click anymore. But here's the cool part, it doesn't stop there. I can actually go into each one of these, I can change the volume, and I can add an effect to each loop. You just tap them, so let's start with the bass one. We've got the volume there, let's go to effects. There it is. Original, let's add in. Add that in, no problem, that's fine. It's a bit loud, so let's go into volume and we'll bring this right down. There we go, that's fine to say 3. Let's have a listen to that now. Maybe I'll change the effect on that. It's a bit crazy, isn't it? So we can go into chorus. Let's put a chorus on. Actually, I just like the normal chorus, that's fine. So we'll add that chorus on, and then we've got this one where it's doing a little bit of picking, so let's add an effect on that one. We'll have the crybaby onto that one, and then we'll leave the other one as is. So now if we play this back, slight mistake. It's okay. If I actually do make a mistake, I can go onto it, I can kill that loop and then make another one. Then what we can do is we can save it, so we can actually click this little button, post it somewhere, or we can just save it as a draft, and that's fine, and then we can get out of there. In the learn section, we've got skills, collections, and levels. So we can go into skills, and we can go into different parts of this. So we can do soloing, we can look at comping, technique, we can look at chords. So if we go into chords and actually just figure out how we're going to play certain chords. And what's really clever is it actually shows you it in a tab formation. So you learn how to actually play properly, as opposed to just go and play C or play G and just expect to know how to do it. It actually shows you how to do it right here. One thing for me that I always want to learn a little bit more starting on the guitar is scales and arpeggios. So this is really, really cool for me, because I'm going to start learning where to put my fingers properly for learning scales and arpeggios, and then eventually do a little bit more soloing, which is cool. So I have a confession to make with this guitar, which is I dropped it. I was out and about. I took it in the bag that it was in, this little sort of silver bag it comes with. And I went to my friend's house and showed them the guitar. And on the way back, I went into the supermarket, which is Tesco's in Liverpool. And I then took the bag off my shoulder to sort of sort my shopping out. And I kind of thudded the bag down and I dropped it. I actually let go of the bag by accident. It was probably only about maybe 2 foot from the floor. So I apologized to Lava Music because I did drop it. However, with it being carbon fibre, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. Now, if this was wood, I would have absolutely dented the crap out of that, and there would have been a knock or mark. There is one little mark there, which is a scuff mark, which I know I can actually rub out, and it's carbon fibre. And because it's carbon fibre, it's really, really tough. And I wouldn't suggest, obviously, taking a sledgehammer to this thing. You probably could eventually break it. But because it's so tough, I was really, really, well, first of all, relieved, but so surprised that there wasn't a damn mark on the thing. And I'm really, really happy with it. I really think it's an amazing piece of kit. Which leads me on to, what do I think of this guitar? Well, other than it being a very loud acoustic guitar, because it is loud. Obviously, this is quite a deep body, and there is a speaker inside with an actuator, with obviously the pickup there, and it's pumping it all out of this sound hole. It's an amazing piece of kit. For those who are beginners and looking to get yourselves pushed on a little bit more onto guitar, or even if you're advanced, there's some things on here I'm like, I can't do that, but I'm going to learn. You've got this entire learning system. You've got effects built into it. You can record yourself. So if you're out and about, or if you're not in a studio, but you've got an idea, maybe you're camping, you take this with you. It's weather resistant. They actually say it's weather resistant on the website. I'd be worried about getting water into it, certainly in here, because you've got a USB-C port just here, and then also there is technology here. Now, whether that's weather resistant as well, I don't actually know, but it's weather resistant in the sense of it's not going to change the sound, where wood would. I like the fact they put a truss in the neck so you can adjust the playability, which is really, really nice. The app is so well built, and it really cleverly pairs up. It automatically did an update when I actually first connected it to my phone, and having that improv with a little bit of drums there, the different backing sections could give you inspiration for writing your next song. Now, if you want to take this even further, what they have got is they've got pedals. They've got pedals that control the beats and also control the effects. So if you are going to take this on stage and you don't want to be tapping the screen whilst playing, you can grab the pedals with them, which are Bluetooth, and it just changes the effects and the drums straight away. Now, the pedals are Bluetooth, so therefore there is a delay. They can't get that working with the loops. I'd like to see the pedals work with the loops, but I don't know whether that's going to be fast enough to do that. But I think that would be an amazing addition. But the pedals themselves for drums and for effects, if you then plug this into a system, this is your backing track machine. You don't need anything else other than this guitar and those pedals. One thing I'd like to see for live musicians in this system is a set list option. They have templates for the effects, and that's great. What I'd like to see is a set list, so therefore you can go to song 1, to song 2, to song 3, to song 4, and then you can build that set list up either on the phone or in the guitar itself, and then you've got your 2 or 3 hour set list of all the different tunes you want to play, and you can just go next, 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 and it's ready for you. I think if they do that and add something like that in, this thing will be unstoppable. I'd like to thank Lava Music for sending this out to me. It is a fabulous guitar and is going to be added to the arsenal of what I already use. There's links in the description box if you want to go and pick one of these up. And at the beginning of April 2025, if you're watching that now, they've actually got a spring discount on. So if you want to go and have a look at these, whether it's the carbon fiber one, the spruce top one, or any of the Lava Me range, you're going to get yourself a nice little discount. Let me know in the comment section below how you would use this Lava guitar. Would you use it for practice? Would you use it for making your own effects and plugging it in on stage? Or are we just going to take it around the campfire and show off because it's a cool carbon fiber guitar? Let me know in the comment section below.